Hello, everybody. If I had to choose one lesson that I want everybody in our industry to learn, then this is the lesson. It's so important, and it's such a stone around our neck as an industry. So can I put my prices up? So some people don't even ask that. They just don't put them up. But I think it has to be a discussion that we tackle individually with your own money story, but I think we also need to tackle it collectively. Now, in 1984, when I started hairdressing, yes, it was a little while ago now, you could come into the salon and I could get your hair in a salon. It was a ladies' and a men's salon. Back then, we didn't even have barbers. The barbers were sleazy old places out the back. There's my dog on the couch. And people with fashion and style didn't really go to barbers. It was like a bit of an old school thing. And people used to come to us to get a lady to cut her hair. So a person who was trained in ladies' hairdressing would cut men's hair, and it was $26. And to this day today, you can still get a haircut in that exact same shopping centre for $26. Something's wrong. Something's really wrong. If you think about the cost of living, homes, cars, all sorts of things have changed many, many times over, and we haven't. Now, I know you can get a haircut for a men's haircut in some places for $90, $100. That's fine. I've sent my partner Simon there because I think good on you. When I met him, he used to have a $25 haircut, and it was okay. It wasn't great. I spotted him as far more handsome than that. And then I took him to an educated Joe, someone that I was mentoring at the time, and he cut his hair to pretty much how it is now. And he just the way he changed, the way he looked at himself was unbelievable. He came home with product. And from that day on, I've been sending him to great barbers, nearly always a barber, and he finds his own now, and he is absolutely happy to pay the price. But what's really interesting is some of the greatest haircuts he's ever had are $35. I think, wow, why would you be $35? And then some of them brag that they go quicker, so it's okay. And I think, no, quicker is actually a reason to increase your price. Nobody wants to sit in the chair longer than they need to, especially the male clientele. So although this is probably not really around beauty, it's certainly not around heavy beauty, they know how to charge, but the hairdresser still struggles with that. So in this PowerPoint, I'm going to help you to rethink the way you think about the way you price. In fact, we've got an event coming up shortly, and one of the guest speakers is Andrew Griffith. And this is his latest book, Someone Has to Be the Most Expensive. Why not make it you? Interesting. So I'll put that down and I'll share my screen with you now. So my greatest challenge about putting this PowerPoint together was not to make it a 3-hour rant from Lisa Conway, but it's really a passion point of mine. And I just, myself, my coaches and the coaches teams, my team, we all work tirelessly to get people, and predominantly they're women, to stick up for yourself, to say, no, I don't want to do that, or I don't want to do that client, or, for people who are saying you're not doing well or whatever. And I think, well, hang on, a lot of that's got to do with value. And a lot of value has to do with pricing. So can you put your prices up? Absolutely you can. But there's some reasons around how you can. Why is it not clicking? Right. The answer is simply yes, absolutely. But there has to be a strong demand for what you sell. So if you're sitting around doing this, then no. The answer is no. You have to do the work. It's really important that you understand about doing the work. And so the work is about your skill set in the salon. The work is also around the mindset of your team. It's also around the dialogue around it. It's also around unpacking all those stories that they tell themselves, but it's also around you. You have to unpack your own story. And, even to this day, I still work with someone who helps me with my mindset, because it's normal to get into a state where you start to believe the other 1,000. So I always say in many cases, what I'm doing is 1,000 to 1. There's 1,000 people telling me you can't put your prices up, and I'm the one who says you can. There's 1,000 people who tell you that if you have a salon, hair or beauty business, you must be there every day, otherwise it'll turn to shite. There's 1,000 people telling you that clients aren't spending at the moment because of, and I'll tell you that's bullshit. Okay, so at times I really feel like it's 1,000 to 1. I really hope that you deeply think about what I'm going to teach you here, and then you come on my team of one. That would bring me so much joy. It really would. Okay, so these are some of the things that I've written down, some facts. Most of you were never taught how to price. Absolutely not. I wasn't. I started my first salon on my own, and I copied the prices from my Sam. I worked for Sam for 16 years, and I copied his prices. I rang around the other salons to find out what they were doing, and then I wasn't the most expensive. Oh, that's rude almost. You're just new on the block. Like, this is a story. And I certainly wasn't the cheapest. So I sort of snuzzled my bum in there and went, oh, if they're all 8s and they're all size 10, I'll be a 9. Who teaches you this? Nobody. It's a story in your head. It's so stupid, right? And money for most people can be a really uncomfortable topic. Like other topics, politics can be a really uncomfortable topic. You think, oh, I don't want to start that conversation. Like, if you want an argument, mention Donald Trump in a room, like, whoo, they go off. Sex is another uncomfortable topic for some people, and I think, although all of these are improving, I still think in this video, I'm going to teach you about money. The other two we'll just leave alone for now, right? We tend to undervalue ourselves, our skills. Absolutely, we tend to. I'll tell you how we do. This is a classic that I see all the time, and I'll be in a room presenting to a room of people, and I'll say, okay, how much do you charge for a haircut? And they put their prices up. They put their hand up and they say $80. And I think, well, $85. And anything that ends in a 5 or a 0, we're already in trouble. That's another story, right? Because you sit on the 5 and then you wait and you jump it up to the next one. Like, why can't your haircuts be 37? Why do they have to be 35? And then they can go to 39 and 41. Why do they go from 35 to 40? And then we've got to wait a very long time, and then we jump up to 45. It's just silly, right? And this comes back to never being taught. It's an uncomfortable topic for most people because it's saying, I believe I'm worth this money. And a lot of people are uncomfortable with that. So you have to go back and look at your story. So when they put their hand up around the room and how much is a lady's haircut, which is what I generally ask, and then I ask a men's cut, they'll say, oh, 85, wow, and they're very proud, and they say $90 or 75 or whatever, and then I say, okay, now tell me, how much is it to come into your salon, have a tint regrowth, cover up the greys? Oh, they put their hand up, and almost always it's the same price, if not more, for the colour. And I think, isn't that interesting? I say, okay, let's look at this. How long would it take if you had a young person who wants to come into your industry? They're 18 years of age. They can speak to people. They can follow commands. Let's just imagine for a second they're a ripper, right? And you teach them how to apply a tint regrowth. You choose the colour because that's fine. You just say, okay, half of this and half of that. So many mils of 20 bob. Off you go and apply the tint. How long? People put their hands up and give me variations from 1 day to a month. I'm thinking, what are you doing? Take a month, right? It doesn't take long to teach someone to apply a tint. In fact, my partner Simon says he's a 3rd-year apprentice because he's been applying his tint my tint on the roots for about 8 years, and he thinks he's going to graduate soon. In other words, it's not that hard. He's not the best at it, let's be honest. He can overlap it a bit, but it's not that hard. Trouble is I can't teach him because it's my head. But if I was standing beside him, I could tell him not to overlap. I could tell him to slap it up and down. I could do everything, and in no time at all. Now, think about that. You charge $85. Let's say they're both $85. So you charge $85 for someone to do a tint regrowth, albeit that you used your brain and they did the work. Let's talk about haircuts. How long do you think it takes before you can let somebody loose on one of your clients and not even look? Seriously, exactly. 4+ more years. Now, you get the odd one. I had my first apprentice come, she was an absolute gun. And I think cutting hair on my twin boys, they were about 9 at the time. I'd cut Aaron's, she'd cut Jake's. And we wait till it grow again. I'd cut Jake's and she'd cut Aaron's. They were not identical twins, but they were very similar hairlines. And it was fabulous teaching her. But she was a freak, right? Most of them are a couple of years and they're actually very scared. Even they'll cut ladies' hair like my length, but they won't cut men's. All too hard because a millimetre makes all the difference. Okay, so we've got a ladies' cut for $85. Takes you about an hour. You charge $85, and only you can do it because you actually have to read minds and decide what they want. And then you've got a tint regrowth. that a junior can put on that you've had for a week, and you charge the same amount. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So I want you to go away and think about that. There is always one person who's going to voice her opinion. Betty, let's call her Betty, Karen, whatever. Be careful of the one-man survey. One person complaining, or even, let's be clear what a complaint is. When someone says, if the price has gone up, that isn't a complaint. That's like saying, oh, I think it's going to rain. It's an observation. A complaint is, you're kidding me, aren't you? You've put the prices up. This is shit. That's a version of a complaint. People don't care what they pay if they truly value what you do in everything that you do. But the first part is that you have to value yourself. Do you care what your competitors are charging? Look, it doesn't hurt to have a bit of a look, but it's about demand. If you've got people, I say, coming at your bum, then you can charge more. It's that simple. Some people are fearful of losing a client, but I actually think it's a bit more than that. So we'll go on and I will get to it. You were never taught this. Most of us hate this kind of learning style, whereas you sit down, shut up, and I'll teach you things. Most of us don't learn it that way. We have to experience it. So I would challenge you to go into your salon tomorrow, although you need to talk to your team first, but I would get their feedback about if your lady's haircut's 79 or let's say it's rounded 75 or it's 80, what if you put it up $6? What would happen, do you think? And I think you have to do the work. You have to do the work with your team members. You have to be so busy. People come to us for many reasons. Some people come to us because they don't have many clients, and that's a bigger concern for me. But those that come to us who have heaps of clients and they can't find a team member because they're too busy working on the tools, they are so much easier because their skill is good. Right? So as much as we want to learn the skill, you have to learn all these other business skills as well and understand that's why you're here. So well done, right? But if you don't learn this and understand which products and services cost you money and which products and services make you money, we've got a big problem, right? The amount of times that we will go through someone's price list, and that's something that we can do in a private session if you want, because you can't possibly do it here, but we can eliminate a few. Like there's a girl came to us, and it's not recently, and she was doing 70% of her services were nails. And when we broke it down like this, the cost of what it took her, the cost that she had to pay to service the nails and the wages she paid, she actually lost every single time she did a set of nails. Now, it was a beauty salon that had nails as well. So she's given up the nails. They're gone. She said, so liberating. But she thought, oh, got to do her nails, because she didn't want to look at the lady and say, I'm sorry, I don't want to do her nails, because her confidence was low. So some of the services that you are doing are costing you money, and that's not good business, not for anybody. All right. So just understand that you have to go through each one. Now, the other thing is, why is money such an uncomfortable topic? Well, you've been coded from the day you arrived that it doesn't grow on trees, you know. Do you think I'm made of money? Right? And unfortunately, I didn't learn that till later in life. And I used to say the same things to my children as well. But in a different way, I suppose, I taught them that saving was just a lump sum of spending. I remember my husband rolling his eyes at me going, really? And I said, well, it's true. That's why you save money, isn't it? You save money to what? Never spend it. I said, nobody does that. Just call it how it is. You save money to buy a bigger thing, a house, a car, something like that, to have a big holiday. You don't save money to never use it. You might save it and leave it to your children. I wouldn't recommend that. I'd recommend to spend the whole lot. But it's often an uncomfortable topic. And sometimes people will borrow money off you, like someone will say, have you got $50? And you give it to them. And then you think, well, I never gave you the $50. I don't personally. I go, hey, Mick, where's me $50? Oh, shit, sorry, Lisa, here it is. I just ask. Like if they borrowed a book and they forgot to return it, would you say, hey, bring me a book back next time? Of course you would. So why are we so uncomfortable around money? You actually have to do a lot of work on yourself and your coding. I think so, because you can't just say, okay, I'm going to think differently about money now. You really have to do the work. You have to go back and think about where those stories come from and have they served you or have they not. Some people didn't grow up with money, so they want to make sure that they have money for themselves and their children. And some people didn't grow up with money, so they don't think money's a good thing. I think money's an evil thing. It's not. So you can go either way. you can grow up with money so you don't appreciate it, or you can grow up with money and go, no, money makes the world go round. It's the stories around that. It doesn't really matter whether you grew up with it or without, but those things are absolutely shaping you, absolutely, right? My money story is quite simple, really. My dad always had more money than he needed. He needed spare money. And in the early days of cash, I used to put money in the pillar slip and in the bars and all that. And that's all stopped now because I can't do that. I hide it in bank accounts now. Put some money. And sometimes I think, oh, need some money for that. So I go looking around now. I don't look in a vase or under a pot plant. I have some funny stories. Instead, now I just look in bank accounts. Oh, there's PayPal, something weird. Ridiculous. So that's still my story, that I want to have more. But that comes from my dad. Have more than you need, you'll be fine. Probably not the best learning, but it's better than feeling like you can borrow money. I still don't have a credit card. I don't need one. It doesn't matter. I have a debit card. I still smash that one, don't you worry. But you have to do the work. You really have to do the work on yourself, and you have to value yourself as a person, and you have to value your skill. Now, what's really interesting for me is my value was around me as a person in solving the problem for someone. Actually, it wasn't the skill. And I think about what we charged all those years ago, $26. At my school was average. Like, I look at the incredible work that leaves salons today, and maybe it's because you see it more. I don't know. I think we've never been better skilled than we are now. There's so many people who educate, and I love the fact that they're so passionate about that. But I get a bit cross because I think education around running a business I think it's more important. That's my opinion, because of course I'm a business coach. But I think, too many times I see people who are seem to be successful, and they are successful in their right. Maybe they do an incredible photo shoot and their branding looks really Mickey Mouse, and mine didn't. But I think, wouldn't it be better to have money set aside to buy your children a house when they leave home? Like, wouldn't it be better to have incredible holidays and train around the world? Like, these are my values. Obviously, they're not theirs. But I want everyone to be a winner. I want you to, when you go on maternity leave, that your business is managing without you, and you've got money to pay for a cleaner, and you can even get yourself a wife. By wife, I mean someone will come and cook a couple of days. That's what brings me so much joy. It lights me up. I don't want anyone to ever be bullied again by anyone, by the accountant, by their family who says, you're just a hairdresser, or by their friends, or I just want you to have everything you want. What we've got to do is work out, what is that, right? And it starts with valuing yourself, and it starts with valuing your skill. That is the only solution. So like I said, be careful of the one-man survey. Absolutely. Like, you might have a team of 4 or 5, and 4 of them say, yeah, we can put the prices up, and 1 doesn't. And that's what I mean by the one-man survey. Someone said to me the other day, that's right, it was an event organizer. And I said, somebody had complained that the last event beyond that the MC said something, she didn't think it was very nice. It was something cheeky. And Nat said to me, she said, yeah, unless you get 3 on the same topic, I'm not listening. And I thought, wow, how cool is that? And that's right. You think, maybe we shouldn't say this. I think it was a swear word. Whatever, I don't care. But, and then I have to think about it as the leader of the organisation. Do we say, don't swear because one lady said, I don't like the swearing? Or do you please the other 120 in the room who said it was the most amazing event? We loved it. We love the realness. We love the rawness. We love that it's authentic, that you speak our language, which is swear words as well. Or do you listen to the one who goes, I didn't like it? Of course you don't listen to the one man at all. You respect her and you say, I'm very sorry. But I think the only answer there is that you put a disclaimer to say, this is a room full of passionate people and someone's going to fucking swear. That's what you say. And if you don't like it, this is not the right room. So you've got to be really careful of the one-man survey. It's so important that you be really honest and true to yourself. Now, this is what I think is really important, is our industry needs us to change. It really does, because when you undervalue yourself, you're saying so much more than you realise, right? And I think the greatest thing you can do is be proud and charged so that people will follow you, okay? Because when you think about someone in our industry, in particular hair, the wages aren't that great. And so when you don't put the prices up, you can't pay them more. And when you don't pay them more, people look down the barrel of being a hairdresser and go, really? Like, it's almost as if when your child wants to be a hairdresser, you need to not tell anybody, like, my daughter's going to be a hairdresser. Whereas if your daughter's going to be a doctor, you say, my daughter's going to be a doctor. Whoa, that's so good. Or a nurse, or a head, who else? A police officer. Hairdresser, oh, shame. Like, that's the only thing we can do is if I had a wish and they gave me a wand, and probably there's a few personal wishes, but a public wish, I would say, bing, everybody's haircuts and colours and everything, the price is doubled. I really do, because it would give us so much room to move. And then, providing that they're not greedy and that they share it down. Like, I believe in targets. I believe that, and we have so many wonderful salon owners who are happy to share the profits, but it's called profit share, right? So when there's great profits, you share it. And if someone hits their targets, and it might be a rebooking target, it could be number of clients serviced, it could be retail sales. I prefer the whole collective comes together and you have a target. But the only way this industry is going to change is if we put our hand up and say, I deserve it. Because the skill that you have, not only do you have to learn the skill, like this hair cutting skill, you have to learn to read people's minds. You have to learn to listen to stuff without getting too involved, without saying, oh, leave the bastard. He's a terrible husband. I don't know why you're there. Like, that's hard. Okay. You have to listen without the judgment. You have to be compassionate when their snotty-nosed kids come in. There is so much skill that we have, and yet we don't charge enough. It's really bad. It's really bad. Okay. So I want everybody to go away and think about, why do I have people backed up out the door tenfold and you're still charging the same price? Supply and demand. It's that simple. Look at the Apple computer. My partner Simon hates Apple computers because they're so much more expensive. He doesn't understand it because he's a real computery nerd, so he understands the thing. But I say, no, it's easy to use. Do you want one of these? These are $500, or do you want one of these for 12 to 13? I want the 12 to 13. Why? Because I like it. It's better to use, right? So if you have the demand for your product, you can be Apple, and you don't ever have a discount or a sale. I hate discounting. Know your value because you've done the work, and charge accordingly. And that's it. And some people are going to leave. And guess what? You can put a full price paying client in their place. A word of advice, you need to sort out your challenges before you go public and put the prices up. Your team have to be 100% standing behind you going, yay. Right? So if you've got one person on your team, you need to challenge her on that. And I can help you with that. There's so many things, but you have to unpack what's her or his money story. You need to sort it out. And sometimes the people who struggle the most with putting the prices up, they don't know how to spend. They're Tommy tight asses. But the greatest salespeople that I've ever had in any team that I've worked with spend money like it's no tomorrow. And I think, God, you can get clients to spend and the money comes in, but you can't save any. So there's about charging and there's about keeping. So very important. Most problems, I say this to everyone, most problems can be solved with money. Most problems. Like when my son was sick a couple of years ago, I just shut the laptop and drove home, flew home to Melbourne and looked after him. I just cooked, went around and watched him when he was asleep, worrying myself sick about him. But money solved that problem. If I had to work, I couldn't have helped my son like that. He was 30, right? So what you don't understand is in your life, there'll be times when you just come across huge challenges. And if you have a big war chest of money or you have a team that works without you, you can go wherever you like, right? If I was sick, now I could just pay a woman to be my housekeeper, or already have one of those. But, I could just pay people to do things for me. When you don't have money, you don't have what we call a war chest. If you don't have money set aside, things can happen. Right? You see all the time when people get sick and they need this medication that's not on I think it's called PPS, and they're stuck, right? Money solves a lot of problems. What you need to do is you need to challenge your team's mindset around money as well. I'd educate them on money. They need to be trained. Most people do not know how to save. Most people are hopeless. And unfortunately, they're at school for about 12 or 13 years and they still don't teach them. Only give me an afternoon, I'll teach you about a budget. It's not that hard, people. It's not that hard. So if you want to be a leader of choice in your industry, teach your team members about saving and the value and how they can earn a flexible income by doing an incredible job and have people lining up the door for them, and they just have more and more clients coming in. That's how you build confidence. Absolutely, that's how you build confidence. You be the best leader you can ever be. So I want you to think about, just close your mind off to everything else and think about what's the story when you think about money. Do you think it's hard to come by? Do you think it doesn't grow on trees? Do you think that you make it, but it falls out of your pocket and it burns a hole in your pocket? Money burns a hole in my pocket. People say things like that. There's no point earning more because then there's more taxes. Like, there's a lot of bullshit that goes around in your head. I want you to find a piece of paper, put it somewhere, and just keep writing on it, because you probably need someone to help you with it. It's a very deep ingrained story that would have been set up before you were the age of 7. And what is it that you really fear? Some people fear losing a client, and that's a very genuine fear. Nobody wants to lose a client. But I think if a client would leave for a few dollars, then there was a bigger problem. The price increase was just pushed them over the edge. I don't believe that's the reason why a client stays with you. I think the biggest fear is looking someone in the eye and saying, that's $39, thanks, instead of saying 35. And fearful that they'll say, oh, it's gone up. Is that why you're buying a new house? Is that why you're having a holidays? Because it comes across as if you want more than them, or you could be greedy. There's nothing wrong with money, people. Nothing. There's nothing wrong with money. I've seen people with money that are miserable. I've seen people with money that are absolutely delightful. You would never know they had money. They just live a life full of joy. I've also seen people without money that are full of joy and love. And I've also seen people without money that are angry little buggers. All right. So it doesn't determine whether you're happy or not. It is one of the things that we measure the game of business. It's like goals. The more goals you have, the more money you have. Some people like to buy cars. Some people like to have holidays. Some people just like to earn it. One of my sons is like, he just wants to have it. He doesn't want to use it for anything. My boss, Sam, was like that. He was a gorgeous man, and he used to love the game. And I've got another friend, Peter, loves the game of making money, but doesn't bother to spend it. Buys whatever he wants, but he doesn't want anything. Whereas me, if I had money, I'd stay in the nicest places. I love the fine things in life. Always have. Love good clothes. I love doing things with my hands. I love painting. I'd love my own studio where I can just walk in and paint and walk out. There's so many things. I could quadruple the amount of money I earn and I'd still be a happy person. Because happiness comes with being happy with you, with being happy with yourself, being happy with the effort you put in with life, being happy with the courageous conversations that you have to have with people, being happy about your own self. That's really important, right? So just have a think about, what is it that you really fear? Don't bonus your team members. Maybe you should think about that, right? There's lots of things to think about. This is, like I said, it's a pretty chunky topic, this one. You have to measure this response. I'm sorry, I can't fit you in, right? So you'll all have your belief about how quickly you can fit someone in. So I don't believe that someone could call today and get in, unless you are like a Just Cuts or a barber shop. Of course, they often don't take appointments. Some do, but often they don't. They just come in, take a seat, come and take a seat. Some of the places I've managed to watch a lot, because Simon goes places. Some of them, you put your name down and then he just calls out Simon, and then you look and you go, how many ahead of you? 6. And then he can go away and come back before his time. If he misses it, he's got to put his name down again down the bottom. So there's many, many ways that you can do it. But quite often what men like, or male clients like, is they don't want to wait. So that if they come along and there's a period, they go, yep, that's fine, I can see, I'll wait for 2. And others will come off peak. There's things like that. So there's many ways that you can change your prices. You can have an off-peak day. It might be, Tuesday afternoons off-peak. So that means you can keep some of your great clients who can't afford to pay the $10 increase, or they believe it's not worth value. So there's lots of things. I always think team members, families can be trainee models and they don't pay at all. So there's lots of ways. So, but not being able to fit people in is actually quite damaging to your business. If they don't go there, you can't get a haircut there because you've got to wait about 2 hours. That's not a good that's not a good, what would be the word? That's not a good look. Clients will get annoyed with that. I'd prefer that you put the price up and I'm happy to pay it, so I'll stay there, so everybody's different, okay? You need a salon that is full and a waiting list. That's what I believe. Like sometimes I put my name down because I work for myself. I put my name down on a waiting list, and very often someone will call me. It might be a beauty service or even at the doctor's. She'll say, "No, I'll send the text out for the next 3 days, and if someone cancels, when can you come?" And I tell her, and she goes, "Yep, someone comes. Do you want to come then?" Right? So if you're that flexible type person and work for yourself, then you can go. But you really need to have a place where someone said, ask for an appointment, you couldn't fit them in, and then they say no. Because when someone cancels, you just ring them up and you fill the slots in. So, this is what receptionists do really, really well. There's a salon that I frequent every week, and I watch, Emma's her name, and I watch her on the phone. She's just brilliant, absolutely brilliant, bringing people back, moving them around, squeezing gaps and things, and just amazing. She goes, I hear her because I sit near the front, and she'll say, "Do you mind if, or I'm going to get Sarah to put on your colour, and if we can do that, then you can come at 10 o'clock. That would suit you better." Yes, like she just wiggles and diggles. It's really cool to watch. So this is an example, and we don't need to go through it now. It's pretty simple, but you download it, and it's a bit about your demand. How difficult it is to get an appointment. How many weeks do clients normally have to wait? How many weeks ahead do you consistently have more than 3 bookings a day? Is it a week ahead? You've got more than 3 bookings for each operator a day. Is it a month ahead? Is it 6 weeks ahead? You've got to look at all those things, and there's many ways. And so you can go through that and have a look at it. And I say, I've actually got that jacket on now. Trust me on this one. I got you. I absolutely got you. Like, I put my heart and soul into teaching everybody what they need to know to be a great operator. This is the white ant, people. If you aren't proud of what you do, you don't have high demand, you've got bigger problems of putting your price up. So it's not a matter of, I would like to make a bit more money, please, darling. It's not that. Do the work. Put your prices up. I've got you. I absolutely got you. And the other thing that I'll tell you is the conversations that I've had, not so much now because I don't work one-to-one with clients. I tend to work more with partnerships and product companies and software companies and that in our industry. So I don't work one-to-one anymore. But in my days of training coaches, Big Four coaches, training salon owners, the amount of conversations that I was to have with these people to get their head in it, and then I'm thinking, next week when we have our meeting, how'd you go? And they go, nobody cared. And I think, and I'd say to them, this is the time when, oh my God, Lisa, you were right. And they go, oh my God, Lisa, you're right. I am right. I got you on this. I've done it that many times. No one gives a shit. They don't. I remember this one girl, Anna, she was so gorgeous. I love looking after her. She was beauty. And I was challenging her on her low prices. She was the most amazing brow waxer, amazing shaper. She just could look at your face and tell you what shape would help you. And she was before she said hello to you, if she sees me at an expo, she goes, who's doing your brows? I go, piss off, Anna. Like, she's just so passionate about it. Anyway, I said to her, well, you should not be charging what you're charging because, 1, you can't ever get into you, and 2, you're just brilliant at it, right? She was real educating people the whole way through. And she said, I can't, I've just bought these price lists. And she showed me these price lists. I said, yeah, so. And she goes, well, I just paid heaps for them. They were, they like beauty therapists, not so much now, but they used to like it when someone opened the door and they go, here's a price list. Whereas hairdressers don't tend to do that much, but beauty therapists always did. It was always a big drama about the price list. Now, most things are online or a QR code. Anyway, she said she couldn't put the price up because of the price list. Now, in those days, she was doing about $6,000 a week. And I said to her, it has to be 10%, Hannah, has to be. So if that's the case, it was going to be 6,600, like that. Do you know what a price list cost her to print? And this is what I said to her, show me, they're a lovely price. I tricked her. And I said, show me, you got any more? She goes, yeah. And she asked the girl to go and get them out the back cupboard. And so I said, that's all. And there wasn't many of them, like a stack like this. I said, good, thank you. I just picked up my key. She goes, where are you going? I said, I'll be back in a minute. I went and put them in the boot of my car, shut the key. She's laughing. I said, you don't need the price list. That cost you how much? It was $220, I think it was, to print the price list that you're so proud of. I put it in the boot. I said, I'm taking it home. Now you've got no price list. She goes, how can I change all the price lists? I said, you're not. You don't need a bloody price list. So she put it up. It was a bit cool. The great thing there was her team wanted her to put it up. She was the blocker. And so the next week she did I think she actually did better. It was 7,200, but it just absolutely went up. No one even said, anyone said anything? She goes, no, not a one. I said, do I not know my shit? She goes, yes. Trust me on this one. I've got you. People don't care, providing they are being serviced beautifully, right? Change your money story, guys, and change our industry. Help me to help people appreciate just how talented you are in this industry. And then maybe we'll get some people coming in. That's what we need, right? It's a job that's hard work. It is not only physically hard work, it's hard on your back. The amount of things that I've tweaked since I got off the floors to have my spine straight and all of the things, dodgy thumbs, all sorts of things that I've spent money on trying to straighten my spine and fix my very, very worn out joints in my hands is from doing the work. Luckily, I was a good businesswoman and I have the money to pay for all the things that I need. So I want you to help me to change our industry, please. Do the work. That's it. Do the work. Value yourself and your skill. And I always say, just do as you're told and no one will get hurt. I say that all the time when I know you'll be better. So do the work, guys. Absolutely do the work on your value. It's really important that you do. I hope you have a lovely day. Get busy. Do your thing. You can do it. I know you can do it. And I can't wait. You can inbox me and tell me how wonderful. Or, of course, show up in the meetings on Monday or Tuesday, whichever it is for you. And I would love to hear your money story and how we're going to change it. Have a great day. Bye for now. See ya.